Hey, good evening. This is Kathy Beatty with Divorce Support Anonymous coming to you on a Friday night, jumping into your life for a few moments just to give you some tools, some techniques, some help, some hope as you go through the trauma of divorce. Or if you have gone through divorce and you're still finding yourself a little confused and disoriented, I do have a group for you, and that is Building Your Life After Divorce. That starts March 25th. It will be hybrid. For those of you who have finished the divorce process and then you ask the question, what now? And this is how you find out what now and what to do next. So we come together for 8 weeks and we have a workbook that you're going to work through. Let me see if I can grab it right here. Looks like this. Get it so you can see it without the glare. Building Your Life After Divorce. So I've done this for many, many years. It's really my favorite part. As much as I love the support groups, the 10 weeks that we spend together, there's something very special about being able to, for the first time in a long time, look forward and start planning a life for yourself. So that is March 25th. Connect with me for a registration form. We'll get you started on that. So tonight's topic, standing up for yourself in divorce mediation. What an important topic. In fact, it's one of my favorite parts of my support group of going when we go 10 weeks together. I ask the question, how many of you are really good at standing up for yourself? It's usually crickets. Nobody admits that they are. There may be one or two because it's their line of work is defending or selling or managing or whatever. But even then, when it's your own personal stuff is totally different. It's difficult to do, really difficult to do, and we'll explore a couple of reasons why. But I have 3 points tonight, and we're going to jump right into them about standing up for yourself in divorce mediation. Do you suffer from being a people pleaser? Many of us do. I work primarily with women. I would say it's like 20% men, 80% women, or 75-25, something like that. The majority is that I work with is women. And women in particular have a really hard time not being a people pleaser. And maybe I shouldn't generalize like that because husbands want to please their wives too. So they've been in that routine. But for the most part, it seems like women really struggle with this to stand up for themselves in a divorce. And if you suffer from people pleasing and you want everyone else to be taken care of, which is a wonderful trait, but there comes a time when you count too. And it is vitally important that you learn to stand up for yourself. And we'll explore later that you're going to need this your entire life as a single person. You've got to be able to stand up for yourself. So this is your first training, is when you go through divorce mediation, to stand up for yourself and to be able to articulate. Now, granted, most of you, majority, will have attorneys with you. They will help you or they will stand up for you. But in mediation, it really is between you and your soon-to-be former spouse. So it really is dependent on you. Now, your attorney is going to be there to coach you, to elbow you maybe, and tell you not to do that, not to give in. But if you're a people pleaser, and especially in this intimate relationship, you've been for years, for decades, always accommodating, always caring for, this is going to be a stretch for you. It's going to be a challenge, but it is a necessary challenge for you to learn the skill of standing up for yourself. You've got to be able to do it. Number 2, the mind shift toward your spouse who is now unsafe. Oh, it's so hard. So hard. In your mind and heart, you are so used to not only pleasing, but believing that this person was a safe individual, that they could be trusted, that they would look out for you. Well, life has changed drastically. And we have to, for our own good in divorce, have that mind shift that this person is no longer safe. He or she no longer cares for my well-being. And really, that's a survival technique that we have to have. That this person is unsafe. It doesn't mean you have to hate them, doesn't mean you have to be cruel in your dealings with them. It simply means you have to understand that they are not safe for you anymore. And I know that's something to be grieved, isn't it? To really just step back and say, wow, I am overcome with emotion to think that this person who I loved and was intimate with and trusted with my everything, my finances, our children, my body, now this person is not safe. And I have to learn to protect myself from people who are unsafe. Again, this is a good training ground for you to learn this, not to be a people pleaser, and to realize that this person, along with many other people in your life after divorce, are going to be determined unsafe. But to get through the divorce process, mediation process, you have to have that mindset, sadly, but you do. Because if you don't, then you'll just kind of give in to them and you'll let them run the show and dictate what they want. And you will leave, maybe not empty-handed, but very minimally handed. So again, please understand how important this is. And when I talk about mediation and people going into mediation, I share with them this tip, and it's very helpful, but it's also very tragic at the same time. So my words for you when you're going into a divorce mediation is this is, sadly, a business transaction. And if you can put on your best business sense and your business hat, and you can proceed in looking at this as a business transaction, it is going to help you through mediation. Now, you can break down and cry all you want to afterward. But when you're in mediation and you're in with your attorney, this is a business transaction. That's going to help you. And again, it's sad, it's awful, but it's necessary for you to get through this. And number 3, you're going to need to learn to negotiate the rest of your life. This is not the first time that you're going to have to negotiate. It may be the hardest time because of the emotions and the breakup of the marriage and the pain of the marriage, the trauma of the divorce. But to tell yourself, excuse me, this is a skill that I have to learn. I don't have a choice. I'm going to need this for survival in my single life. I'm going to need this for the rest of my life. For the salesman, the car salesman I come in contact with, for the builder or the remodeler or the furnace man, the mechanic, anyone, you're going to have to learn to negotiate and stand up for yourself. And boy, if you can get through this one, you can probably get through any one. But consider that as you proceed through divorce mediation and thinking, this is a skill I have to learn. I have to learn to stand up for myself. Because if I don't, people are going to take advantage of me. They're going to walk all over me. I have to learn to honor and respect myself enough to learn the skill of negotiation. Of course, I have some Bible verses. Above all else, guard your heart. And that's what you're doing. You're guarding your heart by being wise and standing up for yourself. And if any of you lacks wisdom, Let him ask God, who gives generously to all without reproach, and it will be given to him. And then a couple of other wonderful verses. Dear friends, Paul writes, never take revenge. Leave that to the righteous anger of God. For the scriptures say, I will take revenge and I will pay them back, says the Lord. Leave this justice to God. But as much as he believes and loves justice, God is a God of justice. He wants justice for you. So he wants you to have that wisdom of being able to stand up for yourself. Justice is a joy to the godly, but it terrifies evildoers. I just love that verse. And then lastly, probably most importantly, the Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still. Being still is believing that God will stand up for us and he will provide justice for us. But he doesn't expect us to do nothing. He expects us to be able to stand up, to fight for justice, to stand for ourselves. But in that whole process, God is going to be the one that fights for you. If you have the faith to believe that, if you invite him in to this process, if you don't invite him, he's not coming. You need the wisdom, the justice of God, and you need him to fight for you. So as you stand up for yourself, remember that God fights for you, fights for justice. But it requires your faith and your relationship with God. So, number one, do you suffer from people pleasing? You've got to stop it. Number two, have that mind shift. Number three, learn the skill of negotiating. If you need to take a class, if you need to get some help from friends, whatever it takes, learn the wisdom and the skill of standing up for yourself, because you will need it the rest of your life. This is Kathy Beatty with Divorce Support Anonymous, walking with you every step of the way through the trauma of divorce and after the trauma of divorce. Have a good evening.